do have a pre-acquirement question. This is regarding just the best way to enter into the real estate market on the investor side with the intent of applying the PIL method. Someone that I know has recently experienced just some health problems, and it's kind of just forced him to explore rerouting his career a bit. He's single, he has excellent credit, probably about $10,000 saved, and that's paired with long-term employment as well. But he does have nearly $100,000 in diverse debt. So about 75% of that is about student loans, and the rest of it is auto and personal loans. The market that he wants to get into is in Michigan. My concern for him is how his debt would present to a lender in just trying to acquire a property. I'm thinking he should focus on applying this PIL method to his present debt first, but he is just so kind of focused on his said need to create another source of income that he's trying to go into the space without taking into consideration like all of the other expenses that would come with outside of just the down payment, because he's never purchased a home before, so he would be a first-time home buyer as well. Is this someone that you would recommend entering into that space at this time before clearing that debt and increasing his savings? And then additionally, would it be a better approach to acquire a business and leverage his credit that way to optimize OPM?
Takara, listen, I want everybody to pay particular attention to this question because you asked several questions here. So we have different scenarios. All right. Now, each one of those scenarios has its own cost involved. Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
All right. So what if we could run each one of the scenarios you presented and find out which one would be the best one in this situation? What if there
Sounds
was a way
good.
to do that? Okay. So one of the things that we would look at, and we're going to add one more layer to this, Takara. Okay.
Okay.
One more layer is that there are loans out there that you can get that only look at the viability of the property to turn a profit and disregards you may have a high debt to income ratio. But I'm thinking about a DSCR. Can somebody on the stage tell me what DSCR means? Ms. Kenyatta, are you available?
I am available. I'm right here.
What does DSCR mean?
That means that we're gonna take into consideration the income that a property generates. And so it's a debt service coverage ratio. So not only are we looking at the actual property, but the income that it generates so that you can qualify for more. And you don't even have to have the tenant in place already. It could be a tentative type situation.
Okay, so Mr. Carr, what you have done is say, listen, there are several things we need to think about when it comes to making a financial decision. And the financial decision, the bottom line is should always be how much can I make with that decision? And how much is it going to cost me if I make a particular decision? And if I get into more debt, am I hurting myself? Is there a way that I could get into more debt so I can help myself? Mr. Carr, is that kind of where where this conversation is going?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. So there is a way for you to get into more debt and it would hurt you. There is a way to leverage somebody else's money so it actually can help you in a situation like this when you consider all of the other options. And we just plug it into a computer and look at the numbers and come up with a decision. And you are so right. A lot of these things need to be considered. But here's what we've been told overall. Debt is something that should be shunned and avoided. And it is something that is difficult for us to look at and say, you know what? We should try to avoid debt at all costs and just look at how we can make money. Yes or no?
Yes, that's the traditional outlook.
That's the traditional outlook. And that's what we're going against. And let me give you just a quick example of what I mean by all of this. If we look at the debt and just go with the feelings of debt and not look at it as optimizing use of credit, We will not look at what it's actually going to cost us. We're just looking at the word debt and then reacting to that. But if we knew the exact cost of the decision we make, plus what the exact benefit would be if we made that decision, then now we're going to be looking at, if my benefit outweighs my cost, I don't have a cost anymore. I have what's called a net benefit when I subtract my cost from my benefit and I'm dealing with the money that's left over. If I can know that going in, I can make a lot better decision financially, couldn't I?
Agree.
Agreed. So listen, what you're talking about is exactly right. And listen, I think having a friend like you who says, okay, let's not jump headlong into this thing. Let's take a look at all the parameters and let's come up with a decision that we can call an educated decision, not a decision based on feeling either way, either conservatively or if we are more liberal in our thinking. And I guess what I'm trying to talk about here are those who are risk averse and then those who are less risk averse. Let's try to come up with the numbers that are going to say, how do we benefit from this whole thing? Mr. Carr, thank you so much for bringing that question. I hope that was helpful.
Yes, it was helpful, definitely.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.